Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this magnificent evening, this magnificent celebration of 15 years of struggle, 15 years of love, 15 years of sacrifice of this organization known as Acupuncturists Without Borders. We welcome you and we're thankful that you could participate with us this evening. And we hope this evening that you will give generously so that this organization can continue the work of the heart and the soul. Acupuncturists Without Borders is one of these organizations that the world needs, particularly in times of serious trauma happening all over the globe. My name is Ramon Serrano. I'm a licensed acupuncturist. I've been working with some form of acupuncture ever since 1980. I happen to have made the connection because karma is what brings all of us together. Acupuncturists Without Borders is filled with people who are by nature and by commitment first responders. When we get together anywhere, there is nothing like the bond of people who run to those who are suffering and run to a place that's in crisis, whether it be a fire, whether it be an earthquake, whether it be a hurricane, and immediately set up shop in the most extreme circumstances, but with so much love that many times governments are not there yet. We get there first. And in many cases, the government never arrives. So when we get there, we see people who have lost everything. What do we do when we get there? We work with a protocol known as the NADA protocol, N-A-D-A, established North American Detox Association, NADA. Established in 1987 as an organization, but the NADA protocol was first brought to the United States, as we shall see, as we see the history of acupuncture in the United States, by a group of revolutionaries in the South Bronx, Black Panthers and Young Lords. And we will hear from one of them. We will hear from Walter Bosque shortly. And it was in the South Bronx that I first met Walter Bosque, and we were working with detoxing addicts. The NADA protocol deals with placing 5 needles in the ear. It is very, very mobile. We usually have people sitting in circles, and we place 5 needles in each ear. 1 needle deals with the sympathetic nervous system and takes care of relaxing the nervous system and also dealing with the form of shock associated with trauma. Second needle is called Shen Men. It connects the heart with the mind. When people go through trauma, usually the heart and the mind are separated to the point that people are completely lost in space. The third needle deals with the kidney. The kidney is associated in Chinese medicine with the emotion of fear. The fourth needle deals with the liver. The liver primarily deals with anger. And when anger does not have an outlet, it turns to depression. And when depression gets too deep, people many times do harm to themselves. The fifth needle deals with the lung. The lung in Chinese medicine is associated with sorrow and loss. Most of the time when we put these needles in a circle, and folks usually fall asleep. Many times people have not been able to sleep for weeks because of the trauma they have suffered. After receiving this treatment, the responses that you shall see in some of the videos coming up are fairly miraculous. We hope to continue this work for the next 15 years. We are asking that you be generous and that you help match what already has been a very, very generous response to our 15th anniversary. We are now at $13,000. We hope by the end of this evening to get to $30,000. There will be a little green button when it's time to donate. I would like to, before I introduce Walter, read a poem that I wrote for this occasion. The poem is dedicated to Dr. Mutulu Shakur, who's presently in jail, one of the Black Panthers who set up one of the first acupuncture schools in the United States. Walter Bosque, and of course is dedicated to my comrades and colleagues at AWB. The poem is called Nada es todo. Nada in Spanish means nothing. Todo means everything. The poem is like this. Like zero is really a place, a circle that divides yin and yang, plus and minus. And yet the circle, which means nothing, contains everything within. It contains the hopes and fears of those who sit inside of it. From Nepal to Tijuana, from the migrant camps in Greece to the fire victims of Napa, from the horsemen of Mongolia to the rooftop refugees of Katrina, from the dispossessed on the West Bank to the forgotten blue tarp victims of Hurricane Maria. Nada es todo. Because the zero is concentric, leading us from the outside into an endless funnel as we stare at an ear shaped like a human fetus, inviting us on a trip to the beginning of time and back again. Charting the map of countless massacres, triumphs, pain, and laughter. Nada es todo. Because the ear hears everything, if you really listen. It will hear the cries of mothers being separated from their babies. It will hear the drums of protest of tribes being evicted from their lands. It will hear the moan of grandfather trees being uprooted from their ancestral home. It will hear the pleas of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. It will hear the screams of those who thought they were in paradise. It will hear the heartbeat of our collective soul. Nada es todo. But the ear is our template, our altar of offerings of love and support to the healing circles across cultures. To those who have lost everything, we offer our hearts and our intentions and our medicine to help rebuild the spirit of hope, community, and resistance. Nada es todo. Before I introduce Walter Bosque, let me say that I've known Walter Bosque since 1980, and Walter Bosque are brothers from another mother. We have been involved in every sort of human rights struggle around New York City and around the independence of Puerto Rico since we know each other. Walter is, I have many times said that Walter is a saint. People laugh, there's some Walter, but there are people around us who many, many years later will be viewed as such. Walter's commitment to human dignity, to sacrifice, and to human love knows no equal. I introduce to you now Walter Bosque. Thank you.
Howdy, folks. A big congratulations to Acupuncture Without Borders for their 15th anniversary. Shout out to Diane, to Ramon Serrano, to Carla, to Stephanie, to Verena, and to Ted Kapchek, who we met in the 80s when I was assistant director of the Tri-State Acupuncture Institute of New York, and Mark Seam was the director. He later on in the 90s turned the institute into a college, and I had the fortune to sit on that board as well. I am now the new kid on the block with Acupuncture Without Borders. I now sit on the board, and it's a pleasure. Pleasure to meet some of you on Zoom and FaceTime, and hope to do some good work for the coming years. we are going to be challenged a bit because things are changing and they're changing quite fast, and I don't think it'll ever be the same. So, for a little history, my name is Walter Bosque del Rio, and I, in the 1970s, was a nursing student. And during my summer break, 1970, I ran into an old friend, Mickey Melendez, and he, as soon as he realized that I was a nursing student, recruited me into the Young Lords because they needed some medical help. They had just instituted a detox program, and they wanted to have a medical collective, and he asked me to volunteer. So I volunteered for the summer. 7.5 years later, I was still there, and a lot happened in those 7.5 years, which I can't tell you how much happened in the 5 minutes that I have. So I'll make it real short. In 1970, I was part of the medical collective. In 1972, I became part of the acupuncture collective. In 1974, I was awarded a scholarship to go to Montreal and be part of the Acupuncture Institute of Quebec. I did that with the Acupuncture Collective, which included Richard Staff, Ricky Bird, Rick Delaney, Matula Shakur, and myself. And we went up there and we studied. And in 77, we received our diplomas. In 79, we went to California, the only state in the union that was licensing acupuncturists, and became licensed acupuncturists. All of this happened in 7.5 years. We organized, we detoxed thousands of people. And by the end of 1979, when we returned from the People's Republic of China, we had a sort of friendship committee, and we went to visit. We took some staff and some staff from the regular Lincoln Hospital. There were about 30 of us. And we spent 30 days in the People's Republic of China. We went through from the north to the south. On our return, the Koch administration decided that they had to get rid of the radicals, that included us. So they transferred 12 of us out of the hospital into other programs, and it just so happens those other programs were methadone maintenance programs, and we were against methadone maintenance. So we resigned. We all went our separate ways, and much has happened since then. All I can say is that we're still alive, we're still breathing, and we still have a pulse. And there's much, much work to do. So I want to make a big shout out to Diane, to Ramon, to Carla, to Steve, Stephanie, to Verena, and to Ted Kachek, who I met in 1980 when I was the assistant director of Tri-State Acupuncture Institute of New York. The rest you'll have to read my book to get all the details, and actually there are plenty of details. There are 2 films, documentary films that just came out. The first one was The Detox People. No, I'm sorry, The People's Detox. That was by Jenna Bliss. And the second film was Dope is Death by Mia Donovan. They're being streamed on the internet at the present moment. So we'll send you some links so you can watch the documentaries. And I hope to see you soon, either on Zoom, FaceTime, or whatever platform we choose. Once again, happy anniversary, AWB. Congratulations, you've done a great job. And I actually met Diana in Puerto Rico right after Hurricane Maria. And that's when I became interested in AWB. So I am proud now to be a member of the board and look forward to seeing you and meeting you all very soon. So enjoy the evening. I'm going to sign off with a little music.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Carla Kessler, and I'm the Acting Executive Director of Acupuncturists Without Borders. Thank you, Walter, for helping bring acupuncture to the United States and for helping create the Nod at Your Acupuncture protocol, which has helped millions of people cope with pain, trauma, and addiction for over 40 years. In 2005, an acupuncturist from New Mexico named Diana Freed joined other inspired acupuncturists from across the U.S. They took the work of Walter and his colleagues to New Orleans to support thousands of residents, survivors, and first responders devastated by Hurricane Katrina. AWB was born out of this disaster, and under Diana's leadership, has served vulnerable and marginalized communities around the world for the past 15 years. We are deeply grateful to the thousands of acupuncturists, volunteers, staff and board members, donors, and community partners that have brought AWB to this day. It is my honor tonight to introduce my friend, mentor, and colleague Diana Freed, the founder of Acupuncturists Without Borders, and extend a deep collective appreciation for her love, vision, ferocious commitment, passion, and tenacity. Diana, from our hearts to yours, thank you.
Greetings. It is such an incredible honor to be part of this 15th year anniversary of Acupuncturists Without Borders. I'm truly amazed that we made it this far, truthfully, and the only reason we have is because of the thousands and thousands of people who have given their heart, soul, sweat to making every piece of this work happen. I want to say a few things about what have been some of the most profound lessons for me, some of the most profound highlights. Really, the people have been the biggest highlight. It's just beyond words, the kinds of people who have come into the fold of AWB and figured out ways to make the work happen, whether it was in the refugee camps or the villages of Nepal or the fires in California. People who have figured out ways to raise the money and to get themselves there and to open their hearts, which is really what this is all about, opening our hearts to each other and to community and creating a community that's greater than what many of us might ever have imagined. People who have understood what it means to try to heal trauma intuitively, to deal with conflicts among ourselves and to figure out ways to keep going and to really become larger than ourselves. Actually, I've heard so many volunteers say that they went wondering how could they possibly make a difference, and they came back feeling like not only had they made such a difference, but that they actually feel like they received so much more than they gave. It is scary to take the kinds of steps that we have had to take constantly with AWB. It's scary to go into a new area not knowing how to start. Oftentimes, there's a story I think is a good example of this. When Carla Kessler and I decided that we really needed to do refugee work in Greece some years ago, Carla spent about 6 months on the internet trying to figure out how could we get into the refugee camps, and it became clear that it was impossible to do this online, and we really had to go and show up. So we went with just a couple of leads to some medical groups that we had heard were working in various camps, and we got to Athens and we tried to find out where is the nearest refugee camp. It turns out it was in the port of Piraeus, just on the very far end of the port where tourists wouldn't see the refugees gathered there. The Greek government had kind of pushed them way to the edge. And we got on the subway and got off the subway and walked and walked and walked. And then we saw these guards sort of guarding the entryway, and we just waved to them and said, "Hey there, we're back again," and kept walking. And this was Amy Schroeder and Carla Kessler and myself, and we went in and people swarmed around us. We started putting ear seeds on people and kids. And anyway, one step after another, we figured out how to work in the refugee camps in Greece by just taking one step at a time. And that work still continues. It's really been an incredible project. Some other things that I've learned in this process, doing one's own inner work is so critical constantly. Really, for me, the story of AWB has been an unfolding every day of the path of just kind of following what intuitively and just that organically arose, and trusting, having to trust that that path is the path that's going to be the right one. Learning how to deal with conflict. This is a huge area. I have made so many mistakes. I feel still really badly about some of the mistakes I've made and hope that others can forgive, as I believe forgiveness is critical to life and giving people second chances, allowing ourselves to be broken open. That's what this work really is, the work of the heart. Disasters and crises to me are doorways to open the heart and to create community and build community, because I think that is where the healing happens. I want to thank the pioneers who have been so crucial to starting this work, so many different groups of people over the decades that have gone into communities and saw that acupuncture is the medicine of peace. It is one of the many medicines of peace, and a really important one. And then lastly, I just want to say, for the times that we're in, that I think we all know that hate and violence are not overcome by hate and violence. They are overcome by love, and that is what we do, each and every one of us who shows up. And what a great gift, and I look forward to a long future.
Acupuncturists Without Borders was born in 2005 after Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans. Our mission was to offer rapid trauma relief care to people affected by the hurricane. Over the next 2 years, AWB brought free community acupuncture treatments to 8,000 evacuees, residents, first responders, volunteers, and other care providers in Louisiana. By 2006, AWB began training acupuncturists to set up community acupuncture clinics for people affected by disaster and human conflict. Thousands of soldiers were returning from war in the Middle East, suffering high levels of post-traumatic stress without successful treatment. AWB responded by launching the Veterans Project, a network of grassroots clinics designed to support veterans and their families. The first clinic was set up in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and the program was expanded over the years to include dozens of clinics across the U.S. to help heal the wounds of war. In October 2007, AWB launched its second major disaster relief effort in response to devastating wildfires in Southern California. For close to a month, we mobilized over 40 trained practitioners to treat residents and first responders as the fires raged on. Due to climate change, AWB's wildfire relief work has expanded dramatically, particularly in the past few years, but our experience and effective response capacity has grown as well. An intense month of floods throughout the state of Iowa came to an end in 2008. AWB trained local acupuncturists to set up clinics for flood survivors and first responders. This experience, along with our work during the California fires, helped AWB solidify its disaster response ability. In the past 15 years, AWB has responded to over 100 local, state, and national disasters. In 2009, AWB began its international work by taking a World Healing Exchange (WHE) trip to Nepal. The World Healing Exchange program takes acupuncturists from the U.S. to countries that invite us to exchange information with indigenous healers and offer pop-up clinics for local communities. In the past 10 years, AWB has taken numerous WHE trips to Nepal, Mongolia, Israel and Palestine, and Mexico, during which we've trained hundreds of local practitioners to do ongoing trauma healing treatments in their communities. This is an essential part of our mission to train practitioners to serve in the places where they live and work because they know their communities best. Following the devastating January 2010 earthquake in Haiti, AWB mobilized hundreds of acupuncturists from the U.S. to provide over 5,000 trauma relief treatments to survivors and first responders. AWB literally brought acupuncture to Haiti, where there were no practitioners, and has since trained over 120 Haitian healthcare workers, many of whom are still providing treatments in 2020. After the shooting in Tucson, Arizona, AWB trained dozens of acupuncturists in Phoenix and ran a community trauma relief clinic in Tucson. Unfortunately, since then, AWB has responded to numerous shootings in places like Orlando, Parkway, and Las Vegas. The same year, AWB trained volunteers and set up a mobile clinic project to serve people devastated by the Joplin, Missouri tornado. Then came our biggest disaster relief challenge yet, Superstorm Sandy. In 2012, after the storm passed through the Northeast, AWB mobilized and coordinated dozens of volunteers and set up 16 relief clinics throughout New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey. For several months after the storm, AWB's clinics provided safe, clean, warm spaces for people to rest and experience stress relief as they continued their rebuilding efforts. Beginning with a World Healing Exchange trip to the Yucatan in 2013, AWB started working with local communities in Mexico, fostering spaces for the exchange of ancestral healing knowledge with acupuncture practitioners. This eventually led to our current work in Mexico with people waiting asylum at the southern border. In 2014, AWB began its Medicine of Peace program in Israel and the West Bank. A primary goal of this program is to bring people who often see themselves as enemies into personal, human, professional contact to help reduce long-term generational trauma. Working with a small group of Israeli acupuncturists, we created a training program which to date has prepared over 150 practitioners to serve in their communities. Following a 7.8 magnitude devastating earthquake in Nepal in April of 2015, AWB went into action, working with the already trained Nepali acupuncturists to provide over 60,000 treatments. Thanks to its already established foundation work in Nepal, AWB was able to mobilize people and resources quickly and efficiently. This is a testament to the benefit of already working in local communities when disasters strike. By 2016, the migration of refugees from climate change and violence in Syria, Afghanistan, and Africa presented one of the biggest human disasters of our generation. En route to providing training in Israel, we decided to cultivate local partners in Greece, where over 60,000 refugees still reside in camps, hotels, and temporary housing as they struggle to create new lives. For 2 years, AWB sent volunteer teams to camps in Greece, and we continued to serve refugees on the island of Chios and in Athens. Treating refugees from places like Iraq and Afghanistan connects back to our support of veterans who fought there. This is how the medicine of peace helps reduce the wounds of war for everyone. 2017 truly tested AWB's resilience as a maturing organization. From September to December, AWB responded to hurricanes Harvey, Irma, and Maria, as well as the Las Vegas concert shooting and multiple California wildfires. Perhaps the most challenging response was in Puerto Rico, where AWB has continued to work for the past 3 years to support people still reeling from Hurricane Maria, as well as recent earthquakes and the COVID pandemic. By 2018, after several years of training and service work in Israel, AWB pivoted to training Palestinian health workers in the West Bank. Like Haiti, there is no Palestinian acupuncture profession to speak of, so our goal has been to train doctors, nurses, psychologists, physical therapists, and other professionals to do NADA treatments in their clinics and in community settings. 2018 also saw the beginnings of the AWB Border Project in Brownsville, Texas, and Matamoros, Mexico, where thousands of migrating people live in horrible conditions since fleeing from violence and poverty in their countries of origin. The Border Project expanded to Tijuana in 2019, where AWB works with the Refugee Health Alliance and the Parteras midwives to offer health services and combine indigenous, traditional, and biomedicine to people seeking asylum. "2020 has shown us that the need for stress and trauma reduction in our communities has never been greater. COVID-19, economic devastation, political uncertainty, and entrenched racial and social injustice has deepened the need. What began as a grassroots humanitarian response to a natural disaster in Louisiana has grown into an organization with a big lens on what trauma means and where it stems from. Our work in 2020 includes responding to natural disasters like the West Coast wildfires, as well as working with deep trauma that stems from violence and conflict, systematic injustice, generational trauma, climate change, and human migration. As some shelter-in-place rules have relaxed, AWB has started organizing in-person community acupuncture clinics in the U.S. to support people as they face huge stress factors. We've developed new online training courses and clinical guidelines for how to do safe group clinics during COVID-19. As we enter 2021, we believe that AWB is needed more than ever, and in many ways is stronger than ever. We feel deep gratitude for the blood, sweat, and tears of our volunteers, community partners, donors, board members, and staff for for helping AWB stay alive over the years to do this work, which is needed more than ever. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And now, with your help, on to the next 15 years to grow the medicine of peace.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed those videos. Deep work, deep sacrifice, deep commitment. I'd like to give a shout out to some of the folks who have contributed so far. Carolyn Miller contributed $300. Nicole Potulski, $100. Susan Freed and Debbie Leibowitz, $300. Echo Bailey, $30. Lisa Freed, $100. Stephen Arquette, $100. Link Sadana, $36. Kim Steffens, $100. Thank you so much for that generosity. Before we show the next videos, I'd like to highlight what it is like, what money means on the front lines of the work that we do. Because sometimes when organizations are asking for money, and many organizations, very needy organizations and organizations that have done great work as well as ours, ask for money. And sometimes we give money and we really don't know where the money goes. It could go to administrative costs, could go to a bunch of things. But I want to give you some frontline examples of what this money does. When we went into work Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico in 2015, we had about 8 or 9 acupuncturists come from all over the United States. Each of these acupuncturists donated their time and effort, paid for their own airfare, had to pay for their own housing, and had to pay for the food for the week or so that they came here. Now, that might not sound like a lot, but what happened at the same time is that they were not able to continue their own clinical practice. So in the process, they gave up a week's wages as well as the extra burden of of having to pay for their room and board. To give you another example, we needed a van for that week so that we can go from one part of the country to another part of the country. The rental of that van cost $500 for that week. So every 100 that you give, every $50 that you give could go to a meal for one of these folks, could go to pay for one of these vans, could help with the housing conditions. So it is very needed and very much appreciated. The next part of the videos has to do with the work that we've done in other parts of the US during the wildfires in Puerto Rico, our work with the veterans, and you will hear from some very committed volunteers who worked in all these areas. Let us go to these videos.
By way of background, I'm a retired naturopathic doctor, New York State licensed acupuncturist, a certified NADA acupuncture detox specialist, community health advocate, and currently a full-time Qigong and Tai Chi Chuan practitioner and teacher. I first met Diana in 2007 as a trainee in AWB's community-style acupuncture leadership training program. Thereafter, and through the auspices of the Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce, I organized an effective fundraiser during its annual Harlem Week event to support AWB's efforts in New Orleans in the aftermath of Katrina. Subsequently, I created a free community-based acupuncture clinic serving the needs of the Black veterans residents in Harlem, New York. I also served as an AWB board member for a period of time. More than ever, this moment in human history highlights the value and importance of the healing professions to assist in keeping the threads of our social tapestry from fraying and ultimately unraveling. As global citizens, we are reeling from an invisible viral pandemic which knows no borders and that affects each of us directly and indirectly. And while COVID-19 does not consciously discriminate, those whom are more susceptible to its harm are those in our society that are typically and historically vulnerable: the elderly, the disenfranchised, and those suffering from chronic lifestyle diseases like hypertension, diabetes, and heart disease. For the past several months, the dictates of social distancing strategies have taken a toll on your ability to provide the services you were trained to offer to those in need. As a result, you have been negatively impacted financially at a minimum. As these restrictions ease, and you begin to envision the process and details of how best to resume your work, it is important to consider that the world is no longer what it seemed to be, and that you will be returning to a different paradigm. The COVID-19 experience provided a respite from the usual busyness and distractions of modern living and hustling. It's been documented that during these past several months, the Earth herself became more quiet as humankind moved about much less. Perhaps it is this organic quiet of the planet that has given attention and clear voice to the other pervasive and quite visible and tangible pandemic we are beset with: racism. The global history of racism and colonialism is well documented. Its insidious, complex, and effective implementation has affected the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health and well-being of generations of peoples of color in the United States of America. The various indigenous nations, for example, enslaved Africans and their descendants, Mexicans and other dark-skinned Spanish-speaking nationals, etc. The recent public and brutal murder of George Floyd by policemen amidst the COVID-19 experience has been the tinder to ignite a global uplifting of our conscience, consciousness, and activism. These entwined pandemics are opportunities for us in the healing professions to embrace and expand our efforts to be of service to those least served in all communities. As you move forward in your deliberations of how to best shape your future as acupuncturists, consider how your skill sets can serve the evolving needs of humanity as it now seems on the precipice of dismantling racism. Thank you very much.
Greetings, this is Dr. Santiago Cifre from Miami, Florida. We are here in the town of Utuado, one of the most devastated parts of Puerto Rico. We are in the highlands of the town of Utuado, which was even more devastated at a school. This is a collaborative effort between Acupuncture Without Borders, the people from Puerto Rico, which are called Salud para el Pueblo y Acupuntura, and the NADA, some of the NADA people from New York. We have gotten together to be able to provide as much direct medical help, acupuncture, moxibustion to this community. And we are looking forward all together to having an awesome day and seeing as many people in need as possible. Thank you.
Hola, my name is Maria de Lourdes Castro. I am naturopathic medicine physician here in Puerto Rico. After the devastating Hurricane Maria in 2017, I wanted to do something to help my people in some way. Then Acupuncturists Without Borders arrived to Puerto Rico, and I went to join them, offering the NADA protocol to the people of the island. It has been a great experience to meet such extraordinary, compassionate acupuncturists from within the United States that came here selflessly to help my people. We offer services mostly on the west part of the island, that part of Puerto Rico that was very devastated with the hurricane. The people there was in desperation and depression. After receiving their treatments, you can see the changes in their state of minds almost immediately. Their faces and eyes were bright and completely different. I continue working with AWB on the island with Ramon Serrano, Nancy, and Mary Jean. We also covered the towns that were impacted with the earthquakes in the beginning of this year. Now during the pandemic, we also offer our services and will continue to do so. Thank you, AWB, for the opportunity of being part of such a great organization. Happy anniversary.
Hi, my name is Guy Page. I'm a veteran of the United States Air Force and owner of the In-Spot Community Acupuncture in San Diego. We run a military stress recovery project partnered with Acupuncturists Without Borders. And I think, I have many, many fond memories of all the events that we've done to the community on these underserved populations. But we went down to Tijuana in January and we treated the deported veterans. We actually have deported veterans down in Tijuana. So we went down there with a whole team of acupuncturists and some other healers, and we treated deported veterans as well as the community of Tijuana, some women and children. And probably the best, my favorite thing is when we treat somebody and they get up and smile and maybe give you eye contact, which they haven't given you all day. They give you a hug, or they just say, oh my gosh, I feel different, or I feel better. Being a member of Acupuncturists Without Borders is a true honor.
Hello, my name is Felix Alvarez Peralta Jr. I was a U.S. Army. I'm a deported veteran. Came here to get the acupuncture, and I'm ready to get the massage. And they gave me good energy flow, took all the laziness out of me, and I'm feeling pretty good. I'm grateful for these people coming over here and helping us out. It's the guy and his family and his people. So I'm grateful. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Larry. I'm a U.S. Army combat veteran. Served overseas from 2003 to 2004 in Baghdad, Iraq, and got out in 2006. Ever since then, I suffered from pretty severe PTSD and substance abuse to try to numb out the pain. And this is my second treatment, and I can tell you without a doubt that I haven't been this relaxed in a long time. So I can tell you that this definitely works, and I will definitely be back for future treatments.
Thank you for being here. We're just so grateful for the love and support of our community in so many different ways. And healing is really important right now, and acupuncture is a wonderful healing tool. So thank you for some stress relief. It's been a lot of stress and anxiety over the past while. This is a great help. So thank you.
Yeah. Likewise, I'm Luis, and thank you so much for the acupuncture. I feel I'm a long-time advocate of acupuncture, and I've used it often. And but self-care is one of the things that kind of goes out the window when you have something tragic happen to you. And just having you guys here as a resource has been very helpful. And thank you very much for the help.
Yeah, so we came down to this relief center in Boulder Creek, and our house had recently burned down, and it's been really stressful and emotional and physically painful, and we got acupuncture today. My husband's still getting it, and it's just helped release some of that stress. I'm so appreciative of Acupuncturists Without Borders, and it's been really nice, and I've got to talk to some people that's gone through the same thing while I do it, which has helped me tons.
Thank you so much for everything y'all are doing. We really appreciate it in this time of need.
It's our first experience with this, and we're probably going to be doing it again because it feels so good.
Most definitely.
Hey, welcome back. I hope you're enjoying the videos and seeing the intensity of our work, the commitment to relieve human suffering, the commitment to make folks feel like there's someone there. There's nothing like feeling alone, especially when you've just been through some trauma. What we bring together is a sense of our heart, lean on our heart. We're there to open our arms, and we're there to let you know that you are not alone. I would like to, before we continue, offer many, many thanks to some more contributors. Alitza Metzner, $500. Thank you so much. Paula Burgess, $100. Matthew Golden, $180. Bonnie Track, $100. Catherine, $150. Rebecca Wolf, $250. We also have a matching pledge of $5,000. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Our next segment takes us into the international arena. As Diana was explaining, when she and Carla went across to try and get into the refugee camps, the international work has been something that is so inspiring. And before I go into the international part, I would be remiss if I wouldn't say the obvious. The obvious in AWB has to do with the impact and the influence of the women that have made this organization what it is. We are in, always the United States is really far behind when it comes to women's issues. It promotes the whole idea that this is the most progressive country in the world, when in fact, we're finally getting a vice president of the United States who is a female in Kamala Harris. And if we look at the halls of Congress that finally are beginning to let women be represented. So the struggle for the feminist movement in the United States has been going on since the inception of the United States. And we have to take our hats off to what women have brought to this organization and how this organization is founded on the principle of equality, on the principle of non-gender bias, and on the principle of everyone bleeds red, everyone needs help, everyone needs love. We go now to our international work and the videos at that level. Thank you.
The treatment is done in a community style, so people come and they stay in a meditation pose for 30 minutes. We counsel them to just forget about everything, just to focus on their air and the needles, and just tell yourself like, yes, these needles are working in my body. My name is Preeti Thapa, and I'm working as an operation director for Acupuncturists Without Borders for Nepal. After the earthquake, AWB has been doing different free clinics all over Nepal. Today we are at Tibetan refugee camp. We had planned to do the clinic in the dormitory. The old people didn't want to go inside the building, so we planned it to be outside. 5 points mainly is to revive the nervous system, and everything is connected with your nerves. When we see the reaction, like they go so deep in meditation, and when they open their eyes and tell us like, oh no, now I'm feeling good, even my body is feeling light, And that kind of reaction is really, it gives us like hope, like yes, we are doing something good.
Haïti Troubadou, Keke Bélissé, Fabi Souci, Mavor. Ok. Ok.
My hope for the future is to see acupuncture extend all over Haiti. Go to the provinces. Go far where we don't have traditional medicine. Okay, where we don't have anybody to treat people, to help them. My hope for the future is in each areas, each city, we can have many clinics. Even though where cars cannot go, we can even train a couple of people to take care of them. Because acupuncture is so important for the Haitian people. We need help. This is kind of help that we need. Use something simple. Something simple like acupuncture, just do the 5 points. And then just after 30 or 45 minutes, the person can give a good testimony. That's what we need. That's my hope for the future. I want to say thank you to AWB. Thank you to Diana. Thank you to the team. Thank you to all our people who give money, people who give needles, people who in the budget, in the plan, just write an amount for Haiti, for the project of Haiti. That's important. Thank you very much. I hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lucien Arcide. I'm an AWB coordinator program in Haiti. I want to thank our donors because from 2011 to 2017, we made 6 training and trained about 200 people, nurses, doctors, psychologists, etc. We also treated about 40,000 people. We did all these things with your money. Here's what your money do in Haiti. Thank you for giving your money to support this sub-program. I invite you please to donate and donate more for Haiti because you save lives, you help traumatized people, stressful people, and people suffering with different pain. Donate, donate, please. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Karen. I'm an acupuncturist from Tel Aviv and the co-founder of AWB Israel. First, I'd like to congratulate you for 15 inspiring years of activity around the world. As someone who lives in Israel, which is the middle of the conflict in the Middle East, I can say that AWB method gave us the opportunity to practice peace medicine, which is a very big thing here, and especially the idea of group therapy and working together. When you deal with trauma, it gives the message that you are not alone, either to the practitioner or the patient. So thank you guys for creating this thing and holding it. And a big thank you for dear Carla and Diana, who help us to become the Israeli branch of your beautiful AWB tree. So congratulations again and enjoy the rest of your virtual celebration. Bye.
Hello everyone, my name is Gaia, and well, as you can see, I'm in Greece in a very beautiful place, and I wanted to tell you a bit about why I'm here, how I got here, and my own experience with AWB. So it all started a year ago in a 3 days training in Israel, where I think I got an amazing tool, a very simple and practical tool to reach out to people in very difficult situations. And I think it opened up a world for me that I didn't know how to enter before. But more than this, I think it gave me, people, a group of people that think like me and care about the same things and can make things happen together. And I think with this, after feeling confident enough that I have something to bring, that I have something in my hands, I wanted to see where it can go and what we can do with this. And with the support of AWB, I arrived to Greece, to the island of Chios, where the situation here is a complicated situation with many, many asylum seekers arriving from the Middle East and Africa and facing a very hard reality when they arrive to Europe here. I didn't know how it will be. We came here to try, but very quickly we saw the need. I saw the impact, and more than this, we saw what we can do in the future, which is a lot. And I'm very happy to say that in this year we managed to open a free clinic for the asylum seekers on the island of Chios. The clinic was full, and people just kept coming and asking for more, and every day I saw how big what I have in my hands, what this tool is just, it looks so simple, but it actually have an enormous impact on people's life. And unfortunately, 2 weeks ago, I had to close the clinic for a while due to increased cases of corona in the asylum seekers community. But in the meantime, we are in a process of having a Greek Acupuncturists Without Borders organization that will give opportunity for future projects here in Greece in this complicated situation to work and to do so much more. And everything that happened this year, the clinic and the organization, is completely with the support of AWB. I would say I got, professionally, mentally and financially, the support I needed, and I'm very thankful for it and can't wait to see what we can do next.
Hi, my name is Nam Thu, and I was the team leader for AWB clinics at the Rio Grande Valley. Last year, I remember watching the situation at the border and feeling so frustrated as an acupuncture student. AWB empowered me to connect with other acupuncturists and volunteers. And so together in 2019, we took 6 trips and offered over 400 free NADA treatments to migrants and refugees at the border. And all this was made possible by AWB donations and the love and time of only 25 volunteers. What makes this work so meaningful for me is being able to offer NADA treatment, which was originally created as a community solution by activists like the Black Panthers, Young Lords, doctors and nurses at the Lincoln Hospital, to community volunteers at the border like Team Brownsville, Angry Tias and Abuelas of the RGV, Good Neighbor Settlement House. They are the ones on the front lines every day offering real solutions to this crisis, love and resources to our relatives stuck between borders. Now, unfortunately, our clinics had to pause due to the pandemic, but I still remember how powerful it was to witness that moment of relief when a mother who has survived rape allows her shoulders to drop and rest her tired eyes, when a father gives himself permission to process all of the grief, death, and destruction that he has endured. Thank you, AWB volunteers, for being committed to this work, especially in these times.
Yo soy partera, estoy aquí en la frontera de Tijuana, Baja California, en México, y soy una partera de la Asociación Partería y Medicinas Ancestrales. Trabajamos en colaboración con la asociación Refugee Health Alliance. Hemos estado muy agradecidos con Acupuncturists Without Borders porque han estado viniendo desde el año 2019 a hacer diferentes cuidados para nuestros pacientes. También han venido a enseñarnos cómo hacer el protocolo de las 5 agujas o de 5 Needle Protocol, y nos han apoyado en diferentes maneras, compartiendo con nosotros tanto agujas como equipo, como medicina natural, y estamos muy agradecidos que este trabajo nos está apoyando muchísimo para poder beneficiar a muchas familias que están aquí en la frontera.
Thank you so much, Acupuncturists Without Borders, for your presence in Justicia and Salud here in Tijuana, Mexico, in Baja California. It is an amazing integrative medicine to be used anytime and anywhere, but particularly in conjunction with all the services already offered for families that need a safe place for their pregnancies and deliveries. Acupuncture can alleviate pain and help regulate digestion and sleep. It is safe and its side effects are few and uncommon. It is a cost-effective medicine that can be easily used in most settings, and it is a great addition to the wonderful work that already is being done at Justicia en Salud. Acupuncture is a medicine for all, and we have been able to provide that to all the shelters, all the community here in Tijuana. Thank you so much for our wonderful partnership.
Hey, as you see, the remarkable people that come together from all walks of life in all given circumstances. It's just when you deal with international work, you realize that the concept of Acupuncturists Without Borders is exactly what it is. Flags, borders divide people. Help, heart, and commitment unite people. That is the basis of our organization. The $5,000 matching pledge was generously given by Jessica Breitman and Gabar Basri. Thank you so much. Also, excuse me while I look at my notes for a second. We'd like to thank Graham Marks for giving $50. The next section, we'd like to thank our corporate sponsors who without we would be much poorer. These corporate sponsors have given money, supplies, support, have never said no, and are always there making sure that we have what we need. We'd like to thank the Mayway Corporation, Lhasa OMS, the Golden Flower Chinese Herbs, CA Endowment, Fondo Cerrales, Fondo Comunitario de Puerto Rico. Without them, we would be in dire straits. Gracias, gracias, gracias. In the next section, we're also going to hear from a very important member of the AWB family, who I've decided to name RD3. I just gave him this name. The R is because he's a rabbi. The D3 is because his name is Dean. He's also a dean at the school that he teaches, and he is our Dean of Fundraising, Dean Kirkcase. You will be hearing from Dean later. Also, every organization that has foot soldiers working in the field would be working blind were it not for board of directors, were it not for administrators who are constantly making sure that details and logistics are handled, air travel, making sure that housing has been taken care of when we get there, making sure that the connections with folks on the ground are seamless so that when we get there, we have less hassles to deal with. In the next video, we will be hear from our head of the board of directors, Verena, as well as a few others. We leave you with them at this moment. Thank you.
Welcome. I'm so glad you could come, so glad that you're here. It is because of you that Acupuncturists Without Borders is alive and well and thriving. There is trauma everywhere on the planet, and we are needed everywhere on the planet, more and more. My name is Verena Smith. I'm the president of AWB, Acupuncturists Without Borders, and I'm grateful and happy to welcome you and to invite you to support us for as much as you can, for as long as you can, because we will be needed. Thank you so much.
Hi, this is Yvonne from Mayway, and I just want to say congratulations to AWB on its 15th anniversary. It's just such an awesome organization, and the fact that you guys are still around and stronger than ever is a testament to the dedication of your leadership and to its members. So, the work you guys do is so important, and not just because it benefits the individuals that you guys treat when you're at disaster sites or through your veterans program, but it gives a chance for the profession and for companies like us to work together to come back and give back to the community, and we really appreciate that. So we love you guys. Again, congratulations, and we're just looking forward to continuing to support you guys and work with you in the years to come. Thank you.
Hi, this is Jeff Bloom, the Education Marketing Manager for LASA OMS. Since we were made aware of the incredible organization Acupuncturists Without Borders after Hurricane Katrina ravaged New Orleans and the Gulf Coast in 2005, LASA OMS has been a proud champion and supporter of their efforts. When disaster strikes, man-made or natural, they are there with their healers and tools as soon as possible. We have watched them travel the globe helping victims of human trafficking, Syrian refugees in Greece, victims of hurricanes in Haiti, Puerto Rico, and so much more. Recently, they have supported people at the US-Mexican border and for the California wildfires. We are proud to supply them with the needles, seeds, and other supplies so they can hit the ground running and take care of the most vulnerable. I am in awe of them both personally and professionally. A huge thanks from the entire LASA OMS family to all members and supporters of Acupuncturists Without Borders. I wish we lived in a world without disaster, but I can rest a little easier knowing that caring practitioners are selflessly giving back to their communities and abroad. Thank you.
Hello, AWB community. My name is Melanie Rubin, and I worked with AWB for years on the Level 1 training program, and Carla and Diana have asked me to say a word about it. So it was such a privilege to work with that program, and it's because of all the very fine people, I'm sure many of you who are watching this video, who participated in that program. It was one of the many ways that AWB reached out into the community to build a community of acupuncturists and to work with people who really, really cared and really were extremely committed to community and to healing and to trauma work. And now with where we are in the world, I feel grateful that there is this community of people who are trained to do trauma work using acupuncture. Thousands and thousands of you out there who are trained to do that at a time when that work is so needed. So thank you. And I hope you'll keep training with AWB and all of the new programs, including the online programs that are now available.
Hello, my name is Catherine Herbin, and I am the Disaster Relief Coordinator of Acupuncturists Without Borders. I would like to take a moment to honor our volunteers. You are the heart, the Shen of our organization. Thank you for sharing this medicine of peace to countless people in your local communities and around our world, for your vision and courage to initiate clinics, for your patience and dedication in working together as a team to make it happen. Taking care of the logistical details it sometimes requires, for responding to the calls to action, the emails, and these days for joining the Zoom meetings, for your brainstorming and your insights, for your commitment and flexibility with what often is the unpredictable moving target of disaster relief work, for showing up and working for hours to treat people in the early mornings, at night with headlamps, in the smoke, heat, and uncertainty, day after day. Not as superheroes, but as a team, collaborating in true community partnerships. Whether you have volunteered in one AWB clinic or have stepped up as team leader again and again over the past 15 years, thank you. A deep bow of gratitude from all of us at AWB to our volunteers, for with each needle, ear seed, smile, and caring word, you are helping to heal our planet. Thank you for holding the sacred space within the clinic, which we know is a feeling nothing short of magical. And we all understand, deep in our core, the true gift of service, how the work is not just an act of generosity to our fellows, it is perhaps a greater gift of joy to ourselves. And to quote one of you from the 2016 trip to Nepal after the earthquake, we are born for this. Thank you for making our work stronger than ever, and we'll see you at the next clinic.
Hi, I'm Dean Kertes, and I've had the privilege of witnessing AWB's work for the past decade as Carla's husband. I've accompanied her to provide support in refugee camps in Greece, in Israel and the West Bank, and at wildfire relief programs in Northern California. I've seen the impact of AWB's work with my own eyes, healing trauma, restoring hope and resilience. We live in a fractured world, a world that is in need of healing, and our problems can feel overwhelming. Climate change, war, refugees, the suffering that is caused by natural disasters, but AWB shows us a path toward healing. This evening has reminded us of what we can do when we work together. AWB provides the hands, and we can provide the means. AWB is a humble organization. They do so much with so little. And they've set a humble goal for tonight to raise $30,000. Please help them shatter that goal and go way beyond it. Giving money is such a simple act, but it can have such a profound effect, healing bodies, healing hearts, and healing the world. Witnessing AWB's work reminds me that the choices we make and the actions we take matter. They can have a profound impact on the lives of others. Please give, and please give generously so that this important work can continue. Thank you so much.
Welcome back, folks, and thank you for your generosity. I'd like to point out some more generous donors. Tatsu Hirano for 100, Carol Lurie 100, Dr. Alex Borjicon 250, Thomas Kelly 100, Amy 100, Katie Barry 50, Florian Ratke 25, Amy Sear 200, Cynthia Napri 50, Jada Samundra $50, 150, Acela Cueva Rizo 100. Yes, we have $2,800 so far. Whatever you can give and what you've given is so appreciated. I'd like to end this evening by saying, please stay in touch through our website for the clinics, for the educational programs that AWB puts out constantly. I would like to end with a poem, as I started with one. This poem was written 40 years ago, and whenever I perform my poetry, people still ask for it. The title of the poem is called Pegao. Pegao for those folks who don't know the concept, has to do with rice cultures, those cultures that have, in many cases, in situations, rice is the only nutrition that they have. But rice in these cultures has a delicacy to it. Pegao is the delicacy of the rice that is stuck to the bottom, that comes out crispy in a ball. You scrape it real hard. And if you put some condiments and good stuff on it, pegao becomes something that if you come, now that Thanksgiving is coming, you come to a Thanksgiving meal at a Puerto Rican household, and on the table, you'll have turkey with all the fixings. And in the corner, everybody's eyeing the bowl of pegao, because people will say, make sure you don't take it all, you leave me some. Pegao has names all over the world in rice cultures. In the Dominican Republic, it's called con con. In Belize, it is called rice bun, like burned rice. In China, it is called sizzling rice. On Mars, it's called whoop whoop. I have some very Martian friends. Pegao, here it goes. Pegao was first discovered in the Ming Dynasty by a Chinese father of 50 who came home one night too late for dinner. His name was Mao Pegao. Mao was hungry from a long day in the field, so when he came home and lifted the cover off the pot to eat his rice, there was none left except the rice that was stuck to the bottom. Mao yelled out, "Coño, lo que queda es pegao." And then he tasted it. Que chévere. Pegao has since been discovered and rediscovered all over the world, where people by necessity must scrape the bottom of the pot. Pegao is the caviar of the poor. Pegao is delicious. Un pegadito bañado en sofrito, bien tostadito con salsita picante de habichuelas caliente. In other words, a bowl of hard rice with spicy hot bean sauce on it. Rich people will never understand pegao. Rich people never get to the bottom of the pot. They don't have to. Those poor, poor rich people. Pegao is a revolutionary concept. It is the secret link in the international chain that will bring down imperialism. From Belize to Vietnam, people who love to love pegao. Pegao is a deep social reality. It is the honey that's the product of the tears. It is the good that comes out of the bad. It is the pleasure that emerges from misery. It is la esperanza that lurks at the bottom. Pegao is like the roach at the end of a good joint. Pegao is a totality. It is used in many ways and means many things. Cuidado que eso se pega. Me pegué, se pegó, nos pegamos, Willy, Willy, pega, te pego. Ay, si me gusta bailar, pegadito. By the way, that's untranslatable. But above all, pegao means together. A togetherness that is forged by taking the direct fire from the stove while being dumped on from the top. The hotter the fire, the more together the pegao. Yes, we are the pegao of the earth. Those of us who must remain at the bottom. Chino, Latino, Jamaiquino, Caribeño. What a delicious pegao. Taste it. What a powerful pegao. Feel it. Siéntelo. The mix is so powerful that it forces the pot to jump on the stove. The pot jumps to merengue. The pot jumps to samba, rumba, salsa, reggae, disco, breakdance. Turn it off, yell the rich, because they can't understand pegao. But they can't turn it off because we've taken control of the pot. Will it blow up, sending the blanquitos to hell? The blanquitos are white folks. No, because all we want to do is turn the pegao from the bottom to the top and mix the blanquitos so they too can appreciate pegao. Espera, wait a minute. The real deal is the blanquitos don't believe they are part of the pegao. They are blinded by their pearly white exterior. Blanquitos don't understand that natural rice is brown y que arroz sin color jamás tendrá sabor. In other words, white rice has no flavor. But that's okay. Paciencia. The great mother has mucha paciencia. The new white rice at the top just takes a little longer to cook. Cocinando suavecito. Cocinando. Some of these kernels are hard-headed, bien crudo, threatening even to poison the delicacy. But that's okay too, paciencia. The poison will just cause the great mother to turn up the heat, causing the crudos to be brown sooner, absorbing the poison into the sofrito. And you know poison cannot compete with sofrito. Soon new munchies will enrich our menus. We'll be swooning to the flavors of Irish pegao, yeah, courtesy of the IRA. German pegao, anti-nuclear, of course. English pegao, bloody good, sin Malvinas. By that time, there will be no need for such distinctions, because after all, pegao is just pegao. Buenas noches y gracias a todos.